Sports, yeah! Woo! Sports, or more commonly known as Spor, because Spor is a whole lot funnier to say than sports, have stood the test of time, and I am the firm believer that sports are the ultimate fandom experience. Sports are fandoms for grown men and women, too, who feel like they can't identify with all the other fandoms that are out there because they're too cool to identify with said things. It essentially is a fandom because you're cheering on a whole bunch of people you've never met in your life and giving them fame and fortune that they very well may not deserve, even though they do play a sport very well, or to the best of their abilities, and to the best of any other ability because they are clearly playing in a professional league. Sometimes our moods depend on how well the team did or how poorly the team did. You could be very happy if your team that you're cheering for won, or you could be very sad that the team you're cheering for lost. There are also low points where people like me cry when their team loses in the final game of a championship series. That's hard to admit now, but that's in the past and it probably will never happen again. Also, riots and other stuff happen when teams win or when teams lose, for whatever reason other than wanting to belong. Everyone wants to feel like they belong, and if cheering for a sports team is a way to be able to feel like you belong, then that's another good way to make yourself feel that way. You're there with 18,000 other individuals who are feeling almost exactly the same way you are, and they want to belong, and because they want to belong, they're going to cheer for this sports team that they want to win. Much like my lack of understanding as to why people do shipping period, I also don't understand why people decide to cause fights at sporting events. You're all there to enjoy the sporting event, but then for whatever reason you want to beat up the person of the opposing team that they're cheering for? Why do you do that? We all like different things, and not everybody's gonna like your sports team that you are a fan of, and because they don't like your sports team, you're gonna punch them in the face? Oh yeah, that's a great idea. Another thing that gets me is just how intense people get over watching the game on the TV. And not just that too, it's just how into the experience you get, and just you can't be bothered when you're watching a sporting event, or else you go completely mad. I've seen people yell and scream at the TV because something is not going right in the sporting event, but what I don't think they realize is that no matter how hard you scream, you're not going to be able to control what just happened. One thing that I still find very unfortunate is that sports are viewed in such a high light that some people still find the need to make you feel like watching or playing sports is the only hobby that you're allowed to have. Every other hobby is insignificant and doesn't exist in the realm of hobbies, because sports are so important that everyone needs to be paying attention to them at all times. Every single sport, every last one. You need to pay attention to all the sports, because once one sport ends, the next one begins, and then you have to become a fan of that one, because there's nothing else that you could possibly be spending your time on than watching sports, or playing the sport. There are still people that hold that legitimate view, and it's really sad. I wish we lived in a world where all hobbies are viewed equally, and that you could go to a sporting event, or you could collect cards, and nobody would judge you on either matter. And that's it, folks. The game is over. All hobbies are viewed equally, and everyone went home happy.